Good morning, preteens, and welcome back to another Sunday morning with me and talking about Daniel. This week we are continuing in Daniel, and we're going to be looking at chapter 6. And chapter 6 is all about Daniel in the lion's den. This is a story that we have learned many times as a young kid, or like through VBS, or we just know the story really well. It's a great example of faith that Daniel has and trust in the Lord, and he keeps it throughout this whole story. So this chapter is not too long. I'm looking at my Bible here, but it is 28 verses, and I'm going to kind of do the same thing that I've been doing week by week, and that is paraphrasing for y'all. So this first chunk is verses 1 through 5. So right now we have King Darius. King Darius is the person who is in rule, the person making all these decisions. And King Darius has set over the kingdom 120 satraps. These are people that are that work for him, that are throughout the kingdom, that are kind of like his guards, his men that keep an eye on things. And he also has officials. He has 3 officials, and Daniel is one of them. So King Darius was actually was thinking about making Daniel the highest official. He actually planned to set him over the whole kingdom. That's verse 3. So what happened was the other officials that were beside Daniel in being higher than just satraps, they got jealous, basically. They were like, okay, we don't want Daniel to be in charge of us, or like over us as well, our boss. So we're going to try to find something wrong with him. We're going to try to get someone to complain about him, or to show that Daniel isn't perfect. Daniel doesn't deserve this job. One of us does. And they were just trying to kind of set Daniel up to fail, or to just not get the promotion, basically, of his job. And so they try, basically, but they can't find anything wrong with Daniel. And we know Daniel is such a great man. He shows faith and strength for the Lord in every story we've looked at. And he is someone that we have said I have said a few times of just, I would love to be a little bit more like Daniel. And so, of course, they couldn't find any fault with Daniel. And so they kind of thought of a new angle to look at it. They were saying, basically, if we're going to find something wrong with Daniel, it's got to be through this sort of connection that he has with God, or what they would say is his God. And we got to find something wrong with that. So what these other officials do is they kind of come at it in a different way. They say to King Darius, they're like, all hail King Darius, basically. And they are just rejoicing for King Darius and showing full support and full allegiance to him. And basically they kind of set him up, King Darius, of saying, if there is anyone in this land that worships any other god or any other idol, person, thing, whatever, besides you, King Darius, they should be thrown in the den of lions. And they made this contract or rule for 30 days. And they said, for 30 days, if anyone else worships any other person, thing, idol, besides you, King Darius, they should be thrown in the lion's den and be killed. And King Darius agreed. So once Daniel had heard about this petition, or this signed document, this ruling throughout the land, he went to his house and he prayed. He got on his knees and he prayed to God, and he gave thanks. It says he gave thanks before his God as he has done previously. That's verse 10. We're in 10 through 13, and the previous section was 6 through 9. I don't think I said that. But basically, he got down on his knees and prayed, and the Bible says he does this 3 times a day. And what happened was these other officials, they knew Daniel would do this. They knew that they could easily catch him. And they saw Daniel through the windows of his home, and then they went to King Darius immediately, of course, to snitch on him. So the officials went to King Darius and they said, did you not just sign this petition, or this, what they call injunction, that everyone needs to worship you and only you for the next 30 days? And King Darius said, yeah, I did just sign that. And then the officials say, well, Daniel is praying to his God, and he does this 3 times a day, and we've seen him do it in his house. And he doesn't even care about you, King Darius. He has no respect for you because he's not doing what you ordered your kingdom to do. And So when King Darius heard this, he was really upset, and he was more upset because he really liked Daniel. He was going to make him over the whole kingdom. He had favor for Daniel, and he was distressed because he didn't want to throw him in the lion's den. I don't know if King Darius realized what had kind of gone on behind the scenes here with the other officials. I don't know if he caught on to that, but he obviously was really upset by the fact that Daniel kind of fell into a trap there. But he signed something, it's a contract, and they said that they have to throw Daniel in the lion's den now because he didn't do what he was ordered to do. So those were verses 14 and 15. And it actually says that the king was distressed and set his mind to deliver Daniel. So he tried all night to figure out a way to rescue Daniel from this dilemma, but he couldn't find anything that could save him. So he ordered Daniel to be thrown in the lion's den, and he actually says to Daniel, may the God that you serve get you out of this in some way. And then this big stone was rolled over the den so that Daniel couldn't get out. And then King Darius signed it with his signature. And then the king went, this is verse 18, the king went back to his palace, spent the night fasting, and no diversions were brought to him, and sleep fled from him, meaning he was up all night stressed and worried about Daniel. So when morning came, King Darius probably sprinted to the den to see if Daniel was somehow alive. He went to the den, he got this big stone rolled away, and he said, Daniel, is there some way that you managed to be saved from this? Has your God saved you from these lions? And Daniel responds, yes. These mouths of the lions were shut, and my God has saved me. So after that, King Darius makes a decree for people of the kingdom to worship Daniel's God, or as we know, the one true God. And King Darius says, for he is a living God, enduring forever. His kingdom shall never be destroyed, and his dominion shall be to the end. He delivers and rescues. He works signs and wonders in heaven and on earth. He who has saved Daniel from the power of the lions. And so this is and that's the end. So what we're talking about today is in the midst of attack. So obviously Daniel was getting attacked, and he had the threat of being attacked by the lions, but also being attacked by these people, these officials. To connect with ourselves, there are times when we feel attacked, whether that is with words, someone's attacking us with words, or with just things going on in our life that it feels like every single day is a bad day, where everything that could go wrong goes wrong. There are definitely days where we feel that way, and it feels like we're attacked by the universe or by life, and that life is just trying to throw every single curveball it can. And if you haven't had one of those days, you're gonna have one of those days. But this is a very big example of that, of Daniel's chapters. The book of Daniel, those chapters are just like a curveball, every single chapter of like, why don't these people understand yet? And in this story especially, Daniel is having the threat of being attacked. And I bet Daniel at this point, we know Daniel is a really good guy, and he will always show the really amazing things that God can do. But I don't know. There's a part of me that if I was Daniel, I'd be like, man, why don't they get it? Why don't they understand, God, what you can do for these people? Why am I still having to prove that you are real and powerful and like no human? Why am I still getting tested like this? And why are these bad things still happening? And I think there'd be a part of Daniel that maybe thinks that, but God shows up, right? And God saves Daniel from the lions, and God saves Daniel from the attack of those other officials that are just kind of attacking because they're jealous that they didn't get favor in the eyes of King Darius. And there are definitely times where we're like, God, why do these things keep happening? Why do I feel like I'm getting attacked by life? And whether that's school, you have a lot of school. Or right now, like, we're in a time where COVID is still happening. We're still at home. We're still doing school online. We still can't go see our friends whenever we want. why? Like, why? And that's what happens when we feel attacked. We always ask why. And sometimes, like, we don't know. And it's because life isn't perfect. It's because we're in a world that has fault. We're not in a perfect world. We're not in a perfect situation where only things go right. And that is because we're human. That doesn't help though. That doesn't fix it. Nothing can fully fix things going wrong, but there are many things that can help. And a lot of that comes from God. A lot of things come from God giving us perseverance. I always ask in a prayer for perseverance because I know I'm either going to need it right now or really close in the future of something will go wrong or not to plan, and you're going to need perseverance to get through it. It's going to come to middle of October and we might be really tired of school, but we need perseverance to get through that. It might already be the first or second week and we feel like we need perseverance. We need strength, we need help. And God gives that to us. God gives us help sometimes when we don't see it directly. And so I want y'all to think about, what can you pray to God for help with? Whether that's just help in general of strength and patience, or just optimism, and having hope that things will change. This won't be the way it will be forever. And I want y'all to pray this week, and I want y'all to go to God like Daniel did. And maybe that's not 3 times a day, but maybe that's once a day. Maybe that's one time this week where it's just you and God, and you pray to him, you give thanks for what is going on right now in your life. And that might start your practice of praying when you feel attacked. When you feel attacked by life or the universe, or just things aren't going right, it might help you get in that habit of going to God and saying, God, thank you for all these things that I get to have and have the opportunities to do. But right now I'm really struggling in this, and I need this to get through. So I hope that y'all have a really insightful week. Maybe this helps you kind of open up your prayers with God, and maybe help your relationship a little bit in the communication area of praying and talking to God and having that strength there in your relationship with him. And so I hope y'all have a wonderful week. I know some of y'all don't start till the 8th, but that's gonna be coming up soon. And so I hope that all of you that have started are having a good time so far in that. I know it's different. I know it's maybe a little weird, but we are going to get through this, and I know we are. So I hope y'all have a wonderful week filled with fun and happiness.